We're now beginning the fourth book of the Torah, and the name of the book is Bamidbar, in the desert, but it also has another name, the book of Numbers, which is also true in Hebrew, Chumash HaPikudim. Why is it called the book of Numbers? Because it deals with counting. It starts off with a census taken of the Jewish people, and several other times we find also the theme of counting. Counting is a very Jewish theme. We constantly are engaged in counting. Sometimes it's verbalized, vocalized, and sometimes it's just in our thoughts, and sometimes it's subliminal. For example, every week we count 6 days, and we have the Shabbat on the seventh day. We count the days of the Omer, which leads us to the holiday of Shavuot. We're constantly counting up to something. And the idea of counting is a very profound idea. Number one, the idea of counting, especially when we read about the counting of the Jewish people, is to show how precious the people are in the eyes of God. That's why God tells Moses to count the people. Commentators go even further, and the Rabbi elaborates on this in great depth, that there's a law that when a non-kosher substance falls into a much larger ratio of 60 times as much kosher substance, the non-kosher loses its identity, it's nullified. But if the non-kosher substance, as small as it is something that has the significance that it's counted under normal circumstances, then because of its significance, it doesn't lose its identity. Likewise, the Jewish people, when God says they should be counted, it's to show that these people, no matter what happens, no matter how much they stray from Judaism, they will never lose their identities as members of the Jewish people. We are counting also up to the final redemption. The final redemption is a process that has begun from the time we got the Torah at Mount Sinai, and in truth, it began with the very beginning of creation. The Talmud in Sanhedrin, Tractate Sanhedrin, says that the world was created for the coming of Mashiach. And we also read when the Torah in the very beginning of Genesis says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. The commentators, Baal HaTurim says that it numerically, which is what we mean when we say gematria, the numerical equivalency of those words is the same as Zeh Rucho Shel Mashiach. This is the Spirit of Mashiach. The Spirit of Mashiach was already hovering at the very beginning of creation, and we're counting down, or actually I should say counting up to that time. And that's the reason why we count before the holiday of Shavuot. It's to emphasize the importance of counting. Counting is a means of preparation. In Judaism, we don't rush into anything spontaneously. Spontaneity is sometimes a positive thing, but as a general rule, we prepare for things, and counting is the method of preparation.